Hello gamers, welcome to another Magehammer's Musings, where every once in a while I find something that I want to talk about. And what I want to talk about today is why I solo roleplay. Now, I made a video not too long ago that was talking about how I roleplay. I find it very fun. Hopefully those of you that watch my videos have found it fun as well. So tonight I wanted to talk a little bit about why I solo roleplay. Maybe a little bit about how I got into solo roleplaying, and just maybe to give you some inspiration or just to share my thoughts. And if you would like to share your experiences, you can comment in the comments below and maybe start a little conversation on it. So why I solo roleplay. So I guess it's more of a little story. So way back when I was in high school, let's go even further back. So many of you have maybe watched my video on Dungeons & Dragons and my history with role-playing. Don't know if you've watched that or not, but I discovered Dungeons & Dragons in the pages of comic books. I'm still a comic book fan. I love comic books. Comic books were my first major entry into imagination, and then that led to novels, and then it led to role-playing games. But when I first saw the advertisement for Dungeons & Dragons, like, what's this? So I did everything I could to get my parents to buy me the basic set, and I finally got it. My best friend next door, one of my best friends next door, I got him into it. Zoltar is his online name, and he and I have been friends for 50 years this year. And we started playing, and we didn't know what we were doing. I'm sure this story sounds very familiar to a lot of you, and I don't want to necessarily rehash my history, but what I'm saying is that it changed my life. It was like nothing I had ever done or imagined in my life. I was in love with comics. I was in love with books. I was in love with imagination, and role-playing games made all of that personal. It would feel like it was me who was going on the adventures that were in the comic books and books. And even, I would say movies, but we did not have great movies for fantasy back then. Maybe Dragon Slayer was pretty good, but it was the books and comic books. Those were my adventures. And like role-playing games and Dungeons & Dragons especially, I was able to be a character in the stories I love so much. It just gives you that little extra added immersion that just reading, though amazing and still one of my favorite things I do, read stories. I couldn't believe it. I've also been writing fiction since I was in 8th grade. And then I'm like, that also is amazing. I loved writing. And so when I started role-playing, I'm like, wait, I am actually playing the characters that I've been writing in my fiction. And that's amazing. They're coming more to life now. Things are happening that I couldn't even imagine. So I guess to say all that is kind of a preamble to this video. It was so amazing. It changed my life. It has shaped everything that I have become and everything I've done going forward. I've had other formative events in my life, of course. I'm not going to go into them in this video, but role-playing was my first brush with, wow, something can be this great. So that being said, I had some friends around the neighborhood, Zoltar and then some others. Zoltar I could play, but Zoltar was very much into music. Didn't have as much time to play with him. I tried to get some other guys down the street then into it. We got into it a little bit, but, kept playing with our other group. And so I also, at that time, there were other games that were coming out, like Indiana Jones, which if you've seen my pulp role-playing game collection, you know that there's that, Gamma World. And I tried to play Gamma World a little bit, but it was a little bit harder to sell. So I started saying, you know what, I'm just going to make characters, and I'm I'm going to try to run them through adventures, just kind of practice. So that's really my first start with solo roleplay. And frankly, it wasn't really the greatest experience, just simply because I really didn't know how to play these role-playing games. We were trying to figure it out. I kind of had an idea, but it was enough of an idea, and we were playing enough that I was like, wow, I really love this. And then also, as I got older into high school, we obviously started playing it, quote unquote, the right way, to a point where we were actually having fun, following the rules a little bit more. And then at one point we started to get a little stale, and Zoltar was usually the dungeon master, and he would just finally just do a monster battle, and we just monster battle, and that would be it. And I'm like, I'm not really telling a story. And the reason I got into role playing is because I liked, I like stories, like being in the stories and so forth. So I was like, that was another reason I finally just sat down, made characters, and kind of rolled the dice and kind of just tried to play through a module and just kind of imagine what I would do. And it wasn't horribly satisfying. It did not have nearly the tools you had back then now, that, makes solo role playing that much more exciting for people out there. I mean, I don't even use a lot of that stuff, but like Axbane's Deck of Many Dungeons, for example, I would never had anything like that back in the day. The closest thing we came to was like Dungeon Geomorphs, but they were just to help you create dungeons. And then Advanced Dungeons & Dragons came out, and they had the the random dungeon generation in the old DMG, and I did that for a while too. I'd just kind of roll it separately. That was a little better because at least I was surprised by what was coming down the pike, and so that was great. But it still wasn't as satisfying as it could be, and I ended up not doing as much as I should have or could have. Then, as I got older, and I'm talking probably at this point, I'm probably in college or freshly out of college, I started my journal. I figured out my how to play. I call it my how to play example role playing. Because, I've said this before in other videos, I really love the how to play examples that you get in role playing games. And so I was like, well, I loved reading those, so why don't I just write them? And then as I started writing them, I'm like, wait, I can roll the dice as I'm writing them. Yeah. So let me get an example. Okay, so I don't know if this is my first one or not, but it's definitely one of my older ones, and it's Castles and Crusades solo play. And I think I've shown this before in another video. So Castles and Crusades role-playing and solo play campaign, The Wandering Shields, and designed and played by me. So I gave the character backgrounds. I wrote up the character backgrounds. And then I started to do the how to play. So this is kind of how it went. I'm not going to do the whole thing, just a little bit. So I would read out the introduction. You all left your respective homes in search of adventure. Your paths led to the free city of Hawktree, where you answered a call for adventurers. One by one, you arrived at a nondescript house in the merchant quarter. Halfling named Gimbal Halftoes led you into a dining room where a gray-haired robed man sat at a long table. After you were all seated, the man identified himself only as Staff. He offered you a membership in a semi-secret organization. So this is the introduction, like you get normally sometimes when you would sit down at the table and your GM would, give you that. And basically he recruits them to become the Wandering Shields. So then, Trouble in the Torn Hills. Now, in this one, I think I had like a dungeon map. I had a dungeon map, and like, that's fine. And I kind of made the rest up. So then he sends them out on a mission. He brings them in, he hires them, and so let's go. We'll start down here. You set out early after a hearty breakfast in the Forg's Well kitchens. 2 farms lay directly south of Forg Keep. After 4 or so hours of traveling, you come upon a farmstead. The Torn Hills are a beautiful backdrop to this home. You see a woman and 2 small children emerge from a house. A man and a young man work a plow horse 100 yards or so to your right. Good son, my lady, we come in peace and mean you no harm. The 2 children scamper behind their mother's skirts at the sight of you all. The mother says, may I help you then? Yes, we are investigating rumors of people being taken or killed in these parts. She looks at you nervously. Her voice lowers. The Milden's farmstead a few hours further down the road has lost a daughter. Just disappeared, and their eldest boy was found slaughtered in their field. Oh, Mander and I are fearful, but we can't bring ourselves to leave our farm. This is our home. Well, lady, we will try our best to get to the bottom of all this. The next time you see it, it will be safe to see us. It will be safe to raise your family here. She says, I certainly hope you're right. I don't know what I would do if my family was attacked. We hope to make sure you never have to find out. Good son to you and yours. The farmer's on his way over as you begin to walk away. I wave, but I think we should keep going. We don't have time. We got what we needed from the woman. The farmer says, Howdy, I'm Mander. This is my son, Millhouse. You have met my wife? Yes, good farmer, Mander. We're investigating the Milden troubles. Oh, he crosses his arms and looks slightly frightened. Oh, good. I don't quite feel safe these days, and I have a crossbow, but it may not be enough. Well, Mander, is there anything you can tell us about the Milden troubles? He scratches his head, and pain crosses his face. I found the boy in the field. He had been slashed with weapons. I know that much. Man, I just hope I never see a scene like that again. Did Milden have any enemies that you know of? Mander looks at you. No, he works his fields. He's a good man. He doesn't have time to get in trouble. Thank you for your time, Mander. So then it would go on like this. I literally am writing it in my head as I go. So I'm kind of combining my love of writing fiction with also gaming, right? And so like that goes on. It basically is a how to play. It's like the examples of the how to play. And then I get into a combat here, and it pretty much this is how it goes. Four arrows fly harmlessly by all of you. Roll initiative. And then Swendra is kind of the caller. She gives out the initiative. And then the CK says, go ahead, Swendra. I charge the nearest goblin, and I have to actually put the rolls down. D20 equals 19 of critical hit. I literally rolled those dice, and that's how I played. With my charge bonus, that's 15 points of damage. And then I have the player also talking, but in addition, when the character talks, I kind of, I don't, when I'm doing this by myself, not on video, I don't read it out loud. And I haven't done this in a while because doing these videos, the videos I do on my channel for solo role-playing, has pretty much scratched the itch that these used to. And I know some people have requested that maybe watch me do this on camera. If you really, really want to see that, I think I might be able to do that. If you really want to, just kind of, let me know. And I know a lot of you may say yes, and I just have to put that together in my head and how it's going to happen. And I just hope that it's something y'all like, and I don't know how long this will last. But anyway, this is kind of, so the goblin's reduced to a bloody mess on the ground. Caden, I cast magic missile of one of the bow wielders. D4 plus 1, 5. Yes. Oh, yeah. Spell failure for my leather armor. Okay, D20. 10, no problem. Your streaking magic hits it, and the filthy creature drops dead. The other bow wielder fires, and Caden, while the goblin standing next to Swendra lunges at her. D20 equals a 7 and an 8. The arrow flies wide, and lunging goblin's club doesn't connect. Broldor. I move up 40 feet, drawing my warhammer as I go. Fetch. I move up, sword drawn. Swendra. I swing at the lunger. D20 plus 4, 8. Down, I think that missed. All right, so you get the idea. So it goes on like that. And, as you can see, I got pretty good mileage out of that. And I did that for many different campaigns. Then I started doing, I just really enjoyed it. Maybe my sessions would last, sometimes they'd last 20 minutes, sometimes they'd last an hour and a half, like just sitting there rolling, getting lost in my imagination, rolling the dice and having a good time. And I would follow a map. Probably one of my most, the longest of these, and I have the book somewhere here in my basement, is when 5th edition came out, and we just did not play 5th edition nearly enough, and I loved it. So I ran an entire solo campaign. The characters got the high levels, and I did it exactly like this, using 5th edition rules. So a couple of things that did for me, I wasn't quite DMing 5th edition at that time, so it got me ready to learn the rules, so that when I did DM, I was able to rule. And I used Dyson Logos's Dyson's Delve, one of the best dungeons I've ever come across for beginnings. And I got to like 3rd or 4th level with those characters. The 4th level of the dungeon, which the characters were probably 5th or 6th level by the time I was done. And just a little bit of night after the kids went to bed and my wife went to bed, I'd come down and I'd do this for a little bit, and it was just role playing. It can be tiring because that's a lot of handwriting, but in the end, it was just a lot of fun. But anyway, so that is where I was before I started doing kind of my modern videos. And pretty much, frankly, I think Axbane's Deck of Many Dungeons really just changed that for me, because in this product I had, it tells you when monsters appear, it tells you where traps appear. Pretty much literally it is the best way to generate a random dungeon just for fun dungeon delves. For any role-playing system. Now, that's not to say like 4 Against Darkness, which I love as well. Games that are built to be solo dungeon crawls are great, but I really prefer role-playing game systems. and solo playing them. And my idea is, and it's not just my idea, obviously, that any role-playing game can be a solo role-playing game. However, the fewer rules that you are juggling, the better. I am also not one of those people that loves to play what they call true solo, where you just play one character. I know lots of people out there do that. I really prefer the interaction between characters, as you can see, going back to my journaling times. And as you've watched my videos, I try to have 3 to 4 characters, depending on the system, at all times. And so, why do I solo roleplay? And frankly, the answer is pretty easy, because I can never get enough of playing role-playing games, right? I mean, that's why I did it. I started role-playing because we weren't playing enough. I am blessed. I am lucky to have 2 gaming groups that I'm a part of, and I run a high school gaming group for my students after school twice a month. I am spoiled for gaming. My one group is online, old friends that we play online with. We play D&D 5e currently. And my other group, I just got finished running a basic fantasy campaign, and now another Zoltar is going to take over and run old school essentials again, going back to one of his campaigns that he was running before I took over. And I love it. I love playing face to face. I love the group part of role playing. But unfortunately, I really want to role play way more than I am able to with given all of our adult lives. And that's one of the great things about solo role play is you are on your schedule and you can play when you want to play. And I try to play as much as I can. And as is evident by my videos, all my solo role playing I've been doing. So, the other thing, the reason that I solo role play, it's a little bit easier. Learn the rules. I know I've heard other people say this on some of their videos. If you solo role play, you know, it's kind of like when people play chess against themselves or learning the game. You know, I'm learning how to play the game, and especially it's become really as systems have come out over the years, or I've created my own systems, is a really good way to play test as much as I can before I end up going behind the screen and running for my group. Learning how the rules work, learning how the game works, how dangerous it is, what maybe house rules I need to put in, and I have a lot more time to learn the rules that way than kind of learning on the fly. So that has been another reason. So if we're looking at this, 1, can't get enough. 2, learn the rules. And 3, minor, you know that I design my own games. Delves and Dangers is currently my favorite that I've designed, and my most recent that I've designed. Well, no, I did design Daring and Dangers after. But Delves and Dangers I'm currently in the middle of making some videos for, playing a solo campaign. But it also allows you to play test. I play tested several of my systems solo that way, seeing what works, what doesn't. Doing it this way, doing journal way, was good. Now that I've gotten Expeditions, Decimate Dungeons, now I just kind of play like I play on my videos. I just don't talk it out. I just kind of play it, and that also tells me whether the game's working or not. So can't get enough, because you can play anytime you want, learn the rules. To learn a new game that you want to try, play it solo first. And 3, play test. I guess right off the top of my head, those are the only reasons. The only reasons? I guess the only reasons that I solo role play. Oh, you know what? No. And frankly, this is probably the most important one. I find it fun. I love playing role-playing games. I've been playing role-playing games for 42 years. It is one of the greatest things that ever happened to me, and playing solo role-playing games, and I have fun playing it, and I think that comes through on my videos. You go watch any of my solo role-playing games, no matter what system I'm solo role-playing, I have fun. I don't have to please anybody else. I don't have to worry about whether my adventure is really, you know, hitting all the spots it needs to hit for my players. If I'm having fun, period. And so that's why I solo role play. So let me know what you think. Why do you solo role play? Do you solo role play at all? Are you afraid of solo role play? Do you like solo role play? Do you like just watching solo role playing but not playing role playing? Do you not have enough time to solo role play? Why are you not solo role playing, people? It's so easy, so much fun. And so hopefully, thank you for listening to me go on about why I solo roleplay, and maybe someday you'll tell us why you solo roleplay. Put in the comments. All right, thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this. And until next time, keep on rolling dice and playing games. Magehammer out.